Whirlwind 24 hours for Michigan State football in the portal. They got a star running back. They got a really solid backup quarterback. We keep adding offensive linemen out of the portal. I'm starting to get dizzy.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing in the middle of another portal day here, right here in East Lansing? Guys, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans part of your daily listening routine right here on the #1 ranked Locked On Podcast Network. Now, let's get into it because, you just walk away from a microphone for 24 hours and Pat Fitzgerald decides to add, 6 more portal commits? Guys, let's talk about all of them because we got some game changers. We have some day one starters. We have a guy that we actually never want to see play at Michigan State, and that is a backup quarterback, but it's always good to have one better than most, one more experienced than most, and you will find in the transfer portal. But let's start with a guy by the name of Cam Edwards, because when we talked with the only Corey Robinson of 24/7 Sports yesterday, one of the questions I threw out there is, hey, of the known visitors to East Lansing, who's on the top of your wish list if you're a Michigan State fan? Who would you want the most out of the guys that haven't committed yet? And lo and behold, I started with Cam Edwards, running back out of UConn. Now, Corey's answer was Nick Sharpe, the offensive lineman out of South Carolina. And spoiler, you already know this by now, both of them have committed to Michigan State. But let's start with my guy, Cam Edwards, because yes, that's right, the second UConn Husky to commit to Michigan State out of the portal, joining his teammate Ben Morawski, stud left tackle. But let's just keep talking about Edwards here, right, guys? Because this guy almost had 1,500 all-purpose scrimmage yards last year on just rushing yards only, 1,118 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, 14 rushing touchdowns. Certainly a productive year in a, albeit rather strong year for UConn football. This isn't the UConn of old where they're going 1-11, 0-12, 2-10. No, they rattled off, I believe, 9 wins it was last year. And yeah, the rushing attack certainly had something to do with it. And when you have a running back like Cam Edwards, and if you've listened to the show the last few days, you've already known these stats, but let's just rattle them off again. Refresh our memory. He is top 20 in the FBS for missed tackles forced with 50, according to Pro Football Focus. Okay, guys, and just a refresher, if you combine all 3 running backs from Michigan State last year, Mekhi Frazier, Eli Tolliver, and Brandon Tolis, all 3 of them combined for 50 missed tackles forced last season. That's not to throw dirt on those guys. That's just to talk about how productive it was for Cam Edwards as the bell cow back at UConn last season. He also had 28 explosive runs. Those are runs that go for 10-plus yards. That was good for top 30 in the nation. Guys, straight up, he runs tough. He's got some pretty good breakaway speed, albeit at a mostly group of 5 level was primarily what UConn's schedule was like. So it'll be interesting to see, how the breakaway speed compares at a Big Ten level, of course. But yes, when he gets to that second level, up to that linebacker gear, kind of hard to catch him, whether that be because of his shiftiness or his straight line speed, whatever it is, he made it work at UConn. And also over his time there, 47 career catches to his name. So he is a threat out of the backfield, and that's something that might flow well in the Nick Sheridan offense, something that goes a little more lateral than maybe you've seen the last few years here in East Lansing. So Cam Edwards, I think, is a difference maker at running back. Michigan State obviously needed a running back out of the portal. Yes, Brandon Tolis comes back. Yes, Jace Clarizio, largely an unknown, but a former 4-star out of East Lansing High School. He comes back. You wanted something more of a sure thing. Like, yes, Brandon Tolis, you know what you're going to get with him. That is your bowling ball, road grader, running back. Hey, well, here's some lightning to that thunder right here. So welcome Cam Edwards to East Lansing. Now that, of course, is not the only Cam that committed to Michigan State out of the transfer portal, and this is a familiar name. Cam Fancher, quarterback, formerly of Marshall, formerly of FAU, formerly of University of Central Florida, and now a Michigan State Spartan for his 6th year of college eligibility. Now, guys, you probably remember him if you remember game 1 of the Jonathan Smith era 2 years ago, right? He played not so great at FAU. He was 12 of 25 passing, 1 touchdown, I think 2 interceptions. But he also carried the rock 18 times for 98 yards if you take out all the sacks he had to absorb in that game. So I also think maybe perhaps one reason his stat line was so low, just 12 of 25 passing, because I think, this is just speculation, he was the most concussed player to ever continue playing a game of football in the face mask on helmets era of the game. When Malik Spencer detonated him, I'm not here to call for people's jobs or say that there's a bunch of hack people on FAU's sideline. I can't believe he wasn't pulled from that game. I don't think he was looking at one receiver the rest of the game. I think his vision might have been doubled from here on out. You get the point. I don't think that was the best Cam Fancher had to offer at Spartan Stadium a few years ago. Now, he transferred to UCF last offseason. He actually won the starting job last year, but imagine this. He left game one with a back injury. He does run with reckless abandon, and we saw that when he played Michigan State. He did not care for a slide, or at least sliding on time. He actually kind of played like Johnny Knoxville, I would compare it to. He had just no regard for his own safety out there. So hopefully we could be a little safer if he does have to enter a game here, because I would like our at least second string quarterback to be able to play should Alessio Milivojevic go down. So I got to say, I do like the Cam Fancher pickup here. I mean, he's a guy heading into his 6th year of eligibility. He has 833 pass attempts to his name. He's got a 60% completion. His legs are clearly a weapon. So he's experienced. He's two-dimensional. This isn't a guy that's just a pocket passer. Like, no. And when the times get dire, which they often will when your backup quarterback is in the game, okay, he at least has his legs to rely on, is a sound backup to have. Like, will he push for a starting role? Like, maybe in press conference quotes only. Like, I can only assume maybe Nick Sheridan, Pat Fitzgerald will say, oh, yeah, it's an open competition. But I think on a real note, this is Alessio's spot. They just want to have a guy that is a solid, experienced backup, because the guys behind him, before Cam Fancher showed up, it's Leo Hannon, who didn't play a snap last year, and it's 4-star Cade Kaufman, who, well, he didn't play a snap of college football because he was in high school last year. So what's better, having a backup with 0 snaps of college experience, or having a backup with, well over 1,000 snaps of experience, 833 of those being pass attempts? So I like it. You know, I mean, hopefully we never have to see him on the field. This is the fun of getting a backup quarterback. You talk about how solid of a pickup it is, but you also wish to never, ever see him, because, well, that means either Alessio has started the season not too great, or he just straight up got hurt. And we don't want to see either of those things happen. But look, well, I don't think he'll be a legit candidate for a starting role. I think it's a perfect guy to get in there to make sure Alessio, and not to say this would ever happen, I only hear great things about the head on this kid's shoulders, but just make sure that he doesn't get too complacent in spring, in fall. He's got someone in theory over his shoulder, of course, looking to push for that starting role. But yeah, this will be Alessio's, not just to even lose. I think it's pretty squarely his right now. He didn't stay here for no reason, of course. So I just think it's interesting that we could be getting Cam Fancher at one point versus Aiden Childs Part 2 at Spartan Stadium. Just obviously Childs will be on the other sideline because Northwestern will be visiting town here. And again, do we want to see Cam Fancher start? No. But if he does have to, hey, he's got the experience. He's got the experience. Guys, we got a big returner here, actually. Chrishon McRae that we got to talk about here. And then some really solid additions to the offensive line. We're going to talk about all that. We're also going to talk about Stanton Ramil joining Auburn. We link up with Zack Blackerby of Locked On Auburn and talk about all that later on this show. But first, you need to talk your ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook, guys. The college football playoff, yeah, it's here. That's right. And FanDuel is here, giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. Like right now, Miami minus 3.5. I got like both eyebrows arching on that one. I'm going to be using the profit boost on that one. I'm going to be riding the Hurricanes. I think they begrudgingly get to the national championship game. But yeah, of the two playoff games coming up, I like that one right there. Guys, just apply the profit boost and just go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays you out instantly. They are so good at that, guys, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com and get your college football playoff profit boost every game day, guys. Also, this episode is brought to you by Rougiet. And let's talk about something that most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. We're talking stress from work, stress from money, stress from life, stress from following the transfer portal, guys. It just doesn't go away at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible moment, well, Rougiet Ready is here, and it is designed to help you take back control. Now, Rougiet Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue. It absorbs fast, guys. You connect with a board-certified online doctor, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. So if you want to make the switch, if you want to make that next step, now's the time, guys. Head to Rougiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. It's Rougiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. All right, we often get the question, hey, all these guys entering the portal, is there a chance that any of them come back? And, well, we got our answer. At least Chrishon McRae will. Big play McRae is what they call him, and we're looking to get some more bigger plays out of him because I was bummed to see him go because, A, he would have been Michigan State's leading returning receiver. I mean, you don't want to lose any experience that you've already, lost out of this room. But, yeah, I just feel like there was a lot more meat on that bone for McRae last year. Now, last season, 24 catches, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, right? But a third of those catches, like 8 of those catches, came in the final 2 weeks of the season. And as you would remember, Alessio Milivojevic, he was the quarterback. That's not to say Aiden Childs purposely neglected him or whatever, but Alessio had no problem dispersing the ball all over the field. And Chrishon McRae, he really found a good connection with. So he's going to have to because you want to come into next season with at least some chemistry with some receivers. Well, there's Chrishon McRae right there. So I know that there was some interest from University of Central Florida, and I think that him dipping his toes into the portal, look, I'm not high enough on my horse to think that he listens to this, and this is why he did it. This is not what I'm saying, but I always say I think it's wise for players, especially in a coaching change, just to enter your name in the portal. See what else is out there. See what your true market value is, and see, hey, what other offensive systems are out there. And all at the same time, you're getting to know your new coaching staff's offensive system. It never hurts to keep an open door by formally entering the transfer portal. As if other teams don't have any issue at all tampering, but that's beside the point. Go ahead, just keep all your options open. That's what I would do if I represented kids. Now, as a Michigan State fan, I would say no one ever entered the portal, but taking all my MSU clothes off. If I'm just like a plain clothes agent, yeah, go ahead, just see what's out there. He did, and now, well, he's back. Hey, there we go. So it's him and Charles Taplin as the only 2 receivers that caught a single pass that are returning. We're already, or also returning Braylon Collier too, true freshman. But the added bonus with Chrishon McRae said, hey, that's a special teams returner too, right? Like that could be your day 1 punt returner, kickoff returner. So I'm hopeful for a better season for him next year. I love the way that they ended last year between him and Milivojevic. Let's keep that rolling. And also helping Alessio Milivojevic, also helping our new friend Cam Edwards. Hey. Oh, God, here we go again. Just after I say that I am done hyping up offensive line play going into a season, because what have I done on this very show? Last 3 off seasons is hype up offensive line play. Hey, Chris Kapilovic, they say he's a great offensive line coach. Look at what he has to work with. How can it go wrong? And it went wrong. Okay, we got Jim Maholchek. Oh my, do a lot of people seem to like him? He's sent guys to the NFL draft. He's got a great eye for talent. It's going to go great. And then it didn't, but don't worry. Hey, sometimes you need 2 years of the same offensive line system to really hit your stride. It will go great in 2025, and then it didn't at all. This is actually why we're in this mess. If the offensive line was any better, I think we'd be looking at year 3 under Jonathan Smith, but we're not. So I said to myself, I'm not doing it anymore. Nick Tabacca, I'm sure, is a great hire. Sure, whatever. I'm not going to be billing him up as some savior to this offensive line like I have the last few guys. I'm going to do something I don't often do. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. Well, damn it. Here, it's staring at me like that mask on the wall. I like this offensive line. I like this offensive line. I'm hopeful for this offensive line. You already know we got Ben Morosky. Connor Moore's returning. This is all fun, but guys, they also added 2 top 40 interior offensive linemen to the fold. We're going to start with Corey Robinson's guy. That was on top of his wish list. Nick Sharpe out of South Carolina by way of Wake Forest, 6'2", 335 pounds. And yeah, you probably already know this. Well, he was at Wake Forest. He was coached by Nick Tabacca, Michigan State's offensive line coach right now. Now, for the Gamecocks last year, he played in 8 games. He started 5 of the games, including starting the last 4 of the season. Okay, now Pro Football Focus, and it gets a little arbitrary with offensive line rankings, so I take these for gospel. Don't take them for anything. This is entirely up to you, but this is what Pro Football Focus says about Nick Sharpe. His pass blocking grade, a 72. Which is solid. It's pretty decent, actually. So there are 49 guards last year in the SEC that played 100-plus snaps. He ranked 21st. So just a tick above average. Not too shabby. He let up 3 sacks in 228 passing snaps, 1 against Ole Miss, 2 against Clemson and that very talented defensive front that they have. And in 2024, in 377 passing snaps, he also let up 3 sacks, so not too shabby. Now, the run blocking grade, 65. Just average, perhaps like a smidge below average, but amongst those 49 SEC guards that played 100-plus snaps, he ranked 16th in the scoring, so still above average there. Again, this is all just Pro Football Focus's judgment. I mean, he could be way better than they say. He could be way worse, but if you want to just take their word as gospel, well, that's what I'm preaching to you right now. There it is. Now, run blocking, his last year at Wake Forest was actually a 75 grade, so pretty solid there, but look, he's coming here with a lot of experience. Last season, nearly 400 snaps at left guard. The season prior at Wake Forest, 665 snaps at right guard. So he is a full-fledged, in-the-middle guard-type player. So heading into his 5th year, 1 year of eligibility, I believe, although I never know eligibility rules these days. But yes, definitely experience and will play on the inside, just like I'm fired up about this one too, guys. God, I just keep crawling back to the offensive line belief well, like the sucker I am. But how could you not after they land Trent Fraley, the number 28 ranked offensive lineman according to the 24/7 Sports Portal rankings, and the top FCS lineman in the portal because, yeah, the 6'1", 303-pound guy, he's from North Dakota State, that absolute wagon of an FCS program. And last year, what did he do? Oh, he just won the Remington Award, which is given to the best center in FCS. Now, he visited Penn State. Penn State was going after him, too. He was going to visit Florida State after he visited East Lansing, but canceled that to commit to Michigan State, guys. So this, according to a 24/7 Sports story, he has 1,700 career snaps, and in that time, out of 825 passing snaps, 1 sack allowed. Yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby. 7th highest pass blocking grade amongst FCS centers last year, according to Pro Football Focus. And hey, will it immediately translate here in East Lansing? It could not, but hey, like you've seen it happen with FCS All-Americans like Trent Fraley. We've seen it with Luke Newman come in, just be a more than fine offensive lineman in his 1 year in East Lansing a few years ago. Connor Moore, I think overall, you know what, like average at worst year at offensive line for him. I think that he will continue to only get better after he comes in from Montana State. So far, I know it's a small sample size of 2. I seem to like dipping down to the FCS ranks to get an All-American from that level to have him play up here. So right now you're starting offensive line, left tackle, Ben Morosky, right tackle, Connor Moore. At guard, you got Nick Sharpe. Maybe your other guard position can be Luka Vincic, who is coming back from a pretty big leg injury. Rakeem Johnson comes back. Andrew Dennis, the former 4-star, although he played, I believe it was 1 snap last year, so a lot to be determined about him. But center, Trent Fraley, I mean, oh, God, guys, I'm doing it again. I'm believing, and I hate myself for it. I can't quit offensive line belief here. Guys, we also got one more portal commit that we got to talk about. It's Liam Boyd, kicker out of Charlotte after 2 years at North Carolina. So, yes, he is on the Jonathan Kim trajectory here. 72% touchback rate. That was good for 29th in FBS. Now, he was 9 of 12 on field goals. He had a long of 42, although you go to his Twitter and he's got clips of him piping it in from 60, 65 yards. Like, he's got to find enough leg. And of those 12 field goals, he missed 2 of them from the 20 to 30-yard range. And he went 5 of 6 from that 30 to 42-yard range. I thought this was interesting. He was 15 of 15 on extra points. And when I say interesting, I mean Charlotte was only in a position to kick 15 extra points last year. They were horrible last year. They only scored 20 touchdowns. They went for 2 points 5 times and 15 extra points. But he made all of them. So there you have it. One more thing I do want to add, guys, before we are joined by Zack Blackerby, or rather I joined Zack Blackerby on his show. What an anomaly that we got going on here for next season. Aiden Childs commits Northwestern. That's great. Awesome for him. Caton Hauser, he gets another shot at Big Ten football. He commits to Illinois. And against all odds, I had no idea he was even still up for eligibility. Noah Kim is coming back to Eastern Michigan next year. All 3 of those have something else in common other than being former Michigan State quarterbacks. You probably already know this. All 3 are going to be playing next year at Spartan Stadium. That is insane to me. What are the odds? Like, that's got to be the first time that's happened where 3 former quarterbacks of a single school that aren't just playing the school, but also going back to said home stadium. So good luck to all 3 of those guys until or except the times they do enter Spartan Stadium. But also one more quarterback note, too. This whole DeMond Williams thing going on with Washington. He signs his agreement to come back to Washington. 4 days later, he announces that he's entering the transfer portal during the celebration of life for that soccer player that sadly passed away. Real stand-up work there by DeMond Williams. Michigan State also is hosting Washington next year. So, hey, could Sam Leavitt be going to Washington? I would highly doubt that. But on a more real note, like, that's a wrinkle with an opponent for Michigan State coming up next year. Will DeMond be their quarterback? Do they even want him to be their quarterback after he tried to pull a rug on them? Will they have to scramble and settle for someone that's not as good as DeMond Williams? Keep your eye on that one. You know, some quarterback issues going on with the Big Ten opponent coming up next year. So, yeah. All right, guys. Hey, you're going to hear from Zack Blackerby, but even later on today, guys, we're going to have an episode with David Gold. Now, he was a beat reporter for Northwestern. He joins us. It was a great half-hour conversation talking about Pat Fitzgerald, what he likes about him, what we should be a little concerned about, all the on-field issues, off-field issues, the leadership that he brings. Really good chat. I think we're going to have that later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, so just keep it tuned to that. But, guys, right now, hey, let's hang out with the legend, the one, the only, Zack Blackerby.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zack Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. A very energetic Matt Sheehan.
That's right.
The host of Locked On Spartans. I went on Locked On Spartans a few days ago because you guys get Caleb Wheatland. You're coming on Locked On Auburn because Stanton Ramil, the left tackle for the Spartans for all of 2024, for the first part of 2025, looks like he's suffering an injury. We'll get more on that in a second. But he is committed. He's now an Auburn Tiger, Matt Sheehan. Your initial thoughts from the Auburn perspective should be what? Should we be excited about Stanton Ramil?
Going to answer your question with a question, Zack. One of my favorite tricks that I like to do here. What's your left tackle situation looking like right now? Is he coming in as a bona fide starter, you think, on day one? Will there be some competition?
If there was no... If we added no one else, which we will have to, we don't have enough people in the room, he would be the starter.
Okay. I don't hate it. I would categorize it perhaps as a gamble, and I think that's a fair assessment here. First and foremost, I wish nothing but the best for the kid, like we talked about before recording. We had him on Locked On Spartans. Nice kid, good leader.
Friend of the program.
All this and that, and definitely no sour grapes with his departure. But I think it's a gamble. Look, let's talk about the upside here. How can this work? He came in as a 4-star. He missed his entire true freshman season because ACL injury. Okay, then he gets thrust into the starting role, redshirt freshman season. About 3 or 4 games is where he blossomed into a starter. Now, it was an outstanding season for him, but Okay, your first college action in Big Ten play, you're going against the likes of Ohio State, Oregon. You can understand how that might not go so well right off the rip here. Okay, but hey, you know what? Big body comes in with a big pedigree. Like maybe down the line, it can work. You don't panic about a tackle because it didn't work out in his first year starting. Now, here's where maybe the low end of the gamble comes. Let's say that you do roll snake eyes and, this didn't work out because, like I said, missed that freshman season with an injury. He did miss pretty much every game after the first month of the season due to another leg injury. And I'm sorry, I don't know if it was the same leg or not. It wasn't to the extent of an ACL tear, but it was definitely one that kept him.
Man, it looks like he came back in week 9, played 18 snaps. Did they just try to give it the old college try to see, and it didn't pan out? Like, what did that mean?
That's precisely what it was. And those 18 snaps against Michigan, too. So this kid's a gamer. He wanted to come in, and he wanted to make a difference in that big rivalry game. But just never materialized here. So, yes, somewhere inside that body is a 4-star pedigree, a guy with a lot of experience. Can it materialize? Sure. But injury issues, and also in that first month of last season against Boston College, he let up, I think it was 5 or 6 pressures, a sack, and that's not necessarily a demon front four over there for Boston College. So I'm hoping for the best for him. I hope it can work. It still absolutely can work. I think it's a little bit of a roll of the dice here, though, for Auburn.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a handful of guys like this. I don't see this staff really pursuing the top offensive tackles in the portal. I think Ramil was ranked 11th on On3's portal rankings for tackles, which is kind of what I expected. I think they're going to get a bunch of guys 10 to 20-ish, and let's just see what happens. Last few years, Auburn's gotten guys towards the top end of the portal when it came to tackle, and I don't know if it's been worth it financially. How much of that has been coaching and scheme? I've been a little bit more defensive of the offensive line woes at Auburn than most people have, and I'll continue to do that. The health thing concerns me about this.
It's something.
Yeah. Auburn lost a lot of guys in the portal, as did Michigan State. And, there's a million reasons why a kid can enter the portal. I'll make that very clear when we talk about it. But it's been pretty well reported, by several folks in the Auburn media that the way Alex Golish and his staff are structuring these NIL deals is you can get paid at Auburn, but you are going to have to earn it. You're getting some up front, but a lot of it is incentive-based. Depending on the type of guy Stanton Ramil is, this could be perfect for him. You mentioned he's a gamer. You mentioned that he wants to be that guy. You couldn't keep him off the field against Michigan. I love that.
Yes.
Could this be a situation where it's like, look, if you come in here and stay healthy and you're our left tackle, you are going to get paid. If that's the context and approach of this, I absolutely love this move based on what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, there's absolutely a world where this all works out. And he does have years of eligibility remaining, which is the nice thing, too. And that's also where I find it a little interesting.
2 years left,
Michigan.
Correct?
Yes, I believe it. Zach, we talk nothing but college sports. I can't figure out what eligibility rules are anymore these days. But
it looks like in 23 when he missed the entire year, that would be a red shirt.
2 years, right?
Then all of 2024, it was him, and then he played in 5 games last year. So I'm assuming that's 2.
But
if he's a senior, then threatens to sue the NCAA because he got hurt his freshman year, does he get another? Who knows?
Right. And there's this clause that if you're from a state that starts with the letter A, you get another year of eligibility. It's all fascinating in the NCAA this day and age. But yeah, I like the play for Auburn, right? Because that's such his life in offensive line recruiting too. It's there's always a give and take here, right? You're going to take in a Stanton Ramil, you get years of eligibility, could work out. Injury issues could also pop up and have it not work out. On our side, though, I thought it was interesting that, look, Stanton Ramil walks, and then they immediately get a guy that, top 5 left tackle in the portal in Ben Morosky out of UConn. Now, the give and take with that is Morosky's only got 1 more year of eligibility. So instead of, keep it with the Ramil train, keep that chugging along, they're going with a one-and-done guy who is already more solidified at being a solid tackle. But, again, just like I said, you're going to have to give out something here when you bring in top-end guys.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another element of this that is a little bit different than other guys that Auburn's brought into the portal so far. I want to touch on what that means in just a moment. So a common theme for the guys that have come in so far, and it's still early, there's still so many guys in the portal, so many roster spots to fill, both of the teams that we cover, Auburn and Michigan State, and just throughout college football as a whole. On the Auburn side of this, it's been a lot of young guys, and they've all been pretty much all of them have been from USF.
Okay.
And the other guys so far have been from Howard and Miami of Ohio. So this is the first P4 edition. I'm confirming that in my brain.
Okay.
Yes. First P4 edition in the portal. And I said, like, I'm fine with adding the USF guys at the skill positions because like speed is speed. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're either running the system and getting open or you're not. Like there's levels there. I didn't want a bunch of USF guys in the trenches, and we haven't gotten that yet. I like that Ramil, I mean, arguably the Big Ten was the best conference of college football last year, especially at the top. Mm-hmm. Regardless of if you want to say the SEC is better, you're splitting hairs at this point. And I like that he's battle tested in that conference. I think that's a big deal.
It is. It helps. I just always go back to his end of the redshirt freshman season, and that's where things really started to come together for him. And he said that on our show just as much, that, yeah, it was kind of crazy having some of my first games against the Ohio States of the world, Michigan, Iowa. But once that last month of the season, well, not only did he have 8 games of experience, but it also eased up a little bit in that redshirt freshman season. So he came into last offseason with confidence. And then the year starts. He looks decent enough against Western Michigan, but I just can't shake that Boston College game out of my head because that certainly seemed like that was his first game of college football action. So, like, I know he's better than that. I think he knows he's better than that, but it was such a I don't want to – disaster seems like a little hyperbolic, but it was definitely a step back from where we remembered that he was in 2024. So could he –
Is there a chance he's a right tackle, Matt?
Fascinating question. He hasn't played any, at least to my knowledge. And if he has,
according to PFF, all of his snaps at Michigan State have been at left tackle.
Why not give it a run there, though? I mean, I'm sure,
especially if you get a few guys like that, right? That are kind of like lotto picks and like moving guys around, unless that's the pitch, right? It's like, did Golish go to Ramil and say, hey, you're our left tackle no matter what?
But is he in a position to say, oh, I will only sign for left tackle positions at SEC or Big Ten schools? Or is he in a position where he's like, maybe I gotta be a little open to a little bit of everything if I do want to keep playing, and not just Power 4, but upper echelon Power 4 football.
Right.
That might not actually be a horrible theory to walk into the offseason with.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, is he a natural left tackle?
From all accounts, yeah, I believe that's all he played in high school, as far as I'm concerned, and that's all he played here at Michigan State. But why not give it a swirl on the other side of the line here? I'm interested with that. Yeah, Auburn's got a guy, like, we haven't heard officially if he's coming back yet or not, named Tyler Johnson, who's kind of always been around, and he's always, like, gotten beat out by the transfer tackle that they've brought in. Gotcha.
And he stayed, and it kind of seems like now's the time for him to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's bad by any means. And in fact, it might have been close and it might have been better. But since it was close, they're going to give it to the guy that they're paid, $1 million to come in and play the position. So curious to see, like, what that looks like, what that dynamic looks like. But Auburn's got a bunch of questions on the O-line. And so Ramil is an answer, but we don't know the answer to what question. Left tackle, depth, right tackle, swing guy. Interesting.
Somewhere in there.
Based off of what you've heard me say about Caleb Wheatland a few days ago, who you guys added, who would you say won this trade between Caleb Wheatland, former Auburn, Michigan State Spartan, or Stanton Ramil, former Michigan State Spartan, now Auburn Tiger?
I like Stanton too. This is the thing. So this is no disrespect against him, but there's a major component in this is that Ben Morosky from UConn comes over. So the fact that we got that in Stanton Ramil's spot, again, no disrespect. I kind of lean that maybe we won the trade here.
Yeah,
perhaps. Sure. How do you feel about this? I
think we could say the same thing. I mean, Auburn's got we talked about it. Like, I like Caleb Wheatland.
Sure.
I just like 5 linebackers on Auburn's roster. Auburn is loaded a lot. We had a lot of issues last year. Linebacker was not one of them. We got a lot of questions about the roster now. Linebacker is not one of them. So this could be a situation, obviously not a literal trade. We're having fun here. But if it were a trade.
No, this is legit. Come on now. Come on.
Okay, yeah. We did this a few years ago with Oregon, where, like, a bunch of our guys went to Oregon. We got guys back. And I actually talked to one of them at the Senior Bowl, and I asked him about the trade. He's like, well, it wasn't a trade. I'm like, I know. I know it's a joke. It's a joke. And we laughed after that. But I think it would be a situation where like both teams do get better. Like they both get something that they like. We need offensive linemen, and even if they're not sure things, whether it's from a production standpoint or an injury / health standpoint, like we need lottery picks on the offensive line. We do.
Yeah. Yep. I get it, man. I get it. Just 4 functioning limbs and a heartbeat is what you need at a lot of positions, but especially the offensive line, you need a little bit more than that, and it comes in form of a gamble sometimes. So best of luck.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. How can people check out everything you've got going on if folks want to follow Caleb Wheatland or hear more from great Matt Sheehan?
That's right. You're the best, Zach. Much appreciated, man.
Yep. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.